And once again, that is *1. If you would like to signal for a question, *1 on your touch-tone telephone. We'll go next to Damon Martin, MMAweekly.com.
Hi, guys. First question is for Randy. Randy, you've been doing a lot of promotion for your new movie, The Expendables, traveling around and stuff. Has that taken any time away, too much time away from your training, or how did you adjust to that with all the travel and everything?
Actually, I haven't had to travel very much at all. I've had one trip to the East Coast, and I took one of my trainers with me and got some great training in while I was there. And the rest has been a short trip to L.A. or, we just had a premiere here last night in Las Vegas, and so it hasn't affected camp at all. It's actually been nice.
Okay. And obviously you talked about, you didn't want to look too much into pressure in this, but obviously with Dana's comments about, this is MMA versus boxing, and he expects I think you said like a 14-second finish or something like that. I mean, do you read into that? I mean, is that extra pressure, or do you just kind of brush that to the side?
Nah, you can't look into that. I train specifically for me. I have goals, benchmarks, and things that I'm trying to accomplish, and I know where I want to be and what I need to do to be successful in this fight. And I just focus on those things I can control. The rest of that stuff is out of my control, and I choose not to look at it.
And I know this fight is going to be at heavyweight, but I think you stated, but I just want to clarify, after this fight, I know you're focused on James, but is your goal to return to light heavyweight in the UFC?
We'll see what happens. I'm certainly comfortable fighting guys around my size that are walking around at 220 and staying away from these guys that are cutting weight to make the 265 limit. But we'll see who the UFC wants me to fight. They've been putting some interesting guys in front of me, some of them at 205, and obviously this fight is heavyweight. So.
Okay. And a quick question for James. James, I know you mentioned it earlier, but how much does your punching power play into those 4-ounce gloves? How much does that, open up angles and things for you hitting, even harder with only 4-ounce gloves?
It's like a hit fall, you know what I'm saying? Flash. I can't wait. Like I said, only thing I can tell you, any good way he does, I'm great at what I do. It's super. Now he talking about he gonna lay on top of me. God bless him. I ain't no female, so it ain't going down like this. So put it away. Come August 28th, he get knocked out straight up.
Thanks a lot, guys. Best of luck to both of you.
Thank you.
And we'll go next to Mike Straka, Spike.
Hey, first question here is for James. James, there's no standing 8 count in MMA. In fact, if you do get knocked down, you can count on Randy jumping on top of you and pounding on your face until the referee steps in and stops the fight. How do you train for that? Obviously, you've never been in that situation.
I've never will. So why would you ask me that question?
Well, because it could happen.
It don't happen to me.
Okay. Hey, Randy, how you doing, buddy?
85 fights. It ain't never happened.
Okay.
Feel great, Straka.
Hey, Randy, Dana White has characterized this fight in some publications, not all of them, obviously, as James sort of convincing him to get into this circus act sideshow of a fight. Now, does that offend you at all? Does that affect your legacy at all?
I'm not worried about my legacy. Those sorts of things take care of themselves. This is an interesting fight. It's a crossover fight. James poses some interesting problems and has an interesting style. Even if it is just dragging boxing up into a mixed martial arts fight. And I'm a big fan of boxing. I like watching James box. I like watching a lot of boxers box, and spend a lot of time working on my boxing. And I don't know a mixed martial artist out there that isn't training in some form of boxing at some time during his training cycle. So I don't know why there has to be the comparisons and the animosity between boxers and MMA. I don't think it needs to be there. I think we both have a mutual respect for our individual sports, and in my opinion, they're very different. So I don't, I don't place a lot of stock in any of that other stuff. I can't control it. I'm going to focus on my training and what I do.
Now, one thing we've all learned, the last championship bout, I know this isn't one, but Chael Sonnen did a great job in selling the fight pre-fight with words, and James has done a really good job himself at one point telling our friend Ariel Helwani, a guy with 12 losses is a legend, ain't that a bitch? I think that's a direct quote. Now, what's your reaction to that, Randy?
That sort of stuff just makes me smile, and James has done an amazing job of hyping up this fight. There's a lot of people that are going to tune in and want to see the outcome of this, and that's good. That's good for both of us.
Excellent. I totally agree that James has done a great job in hyping this fight, and I look forward to August 28th. Thanks, gentlemen.
You bet.
And we'll go next to Derek Foley, Irish Daily Star.
How you doing? Greetings from the Emerald Isle. I'm here to reflect. Hiya. I'm here to reflect the huge pickup in MMA in this country, which is traditionally a boxing country. We do very well at the Olympics, as James Tovey will know, that our amateur boxers are very, very famous. In this context, Randy, as a pure martial arts expert, are you aware of the big pickup in Europe and across Britain and in Ireland and in on our continent?
Yeah, I am aware of the situation. I just fought in Manchester, which is obviously England. It's not Ireland, but I've been to Belfast to the UFC there, and I know that the show in Dublin was a big success. I'm very familiar with the explosion of mixed martial arts across Europe and certainly in the United Kingdom and Ireland. So that's exciting. I think that's awesome. And, I think there's one thing that both James and I share. It's a fighting spirit. The rules of engagement may be different, but fighting is fighting. That spirit that carries us into that ring or that cage is very, very similar. So I'm not surprised that it's taken off in Ireland. There's a strong fighting spirit there, and I expect that the sport of mixed martial arts is going to do very, very well there.
Now, this is the most important question that I want to ask you, which is a follow-on from that. Given that we have 50 years of 100 years nearly of Olympic boxing and Barry McGuigan and very famous boxers, and we're very proud of our heritage, we've been watching MMA and the progression of the way the rules have gone. Now, do you think that the tightening up of the rules, such as what will lead you to New York and Madison Square Garden, is that giving an advantage back to boxers, or do you think that the more and more rules have worked against boxers, going back to the pure original, say, UFC 1, taken for example?
Well, I'm pretty comfortable with the rules the way they are now. I think they make the sport very viewer-friendly, which is important. The people need to understand technically and tactically what's going on. The judging in the rounds and all those things, stuff that's pretty clean in mixed martial arts, and I think that's very, very important. So I don't know that it's skewed one way or the other with the rules, the unified rules, the way they are now. I think striking is a commodity that is a nice tool and a nice thing to happen, but still there's a lot of other things that you can use technically and tactically in a fight to be successful.
Okay, and then just last one for you, Randy. Clearly, the hunger over here for St. Patrick's Day fight is, fabulous. We've got the arena. It's rumored that the UFC have the date held open on a whatever. Is it possible that you'd have your hand up to fight March 17th in Dublin next time around?
There's always a possibility of that. This is the first time hearing about that date, but that would be a pretty amazing event to have a UFC at St. Patrick's Day in Ireland would be pretty amazing.
And my obvious the last one. Do you have any Irish relatives in the family out there?
Do I have any what?
Do you have any Irish relatives? Anybody married into the family, or anybody who you particularly have?
A lot of friends, but I don't believe I have any relatives. No, not that I know of.
Okay, thanks a lot, Randy, and greetings from Ireland. And I just have a fairly quick question for James. James, you must be aware of some Irish boxers, the Barry McGuigans of this world. I mean, are you aware that we have an MMA market?
I was made aware of that a couple months ago, and somebody asked about. I did an interview with somebody from Ireland, and that's why I want to come over there and do a MMA match. I said, no problem. I'd love to go over there and find the gold.
Okay.